Hello and welcome to my second Imperator Rome video of the day. So I didn't realize this when I recorded my last one, but Paradox did a second stream today, and basically what they did was Rod and Blondie, they did a stream where they played as Caledonia and sort of taught us about the early moves of what you would do and what all the various modifiers mean, etc, etc. So I thought I would go through some of the things that were shown off there. Also, that music is a little too loud, I apologize. There we go. So yes, going through it, so obviously they were playing as Caledonia, and there are a few things that they could do as Caledonia. So in the decisions list, the formable nations for Caledonia would be the Caledonian Confederacy, Britannia, and Albion. Now let's start with confederacies because it's the lowest level one. Basically, the interesting part about this is if you have, to form it, you only need to have the various tribes in Caledonia to be subjects. You don't need to own the land outright. And when you form this confederacy, you automatically annex those subjects. So if you're playing a tribe in, well, the British Isles has them, Gaul has them, Iberia has them, so these kind of things, it might be worth your while to get a lot of subjects and then just automatically integrate them at the end. Also, there's a few of the modifiers that you got for it, higher pop growth and higher civilization being the two that I saw hovered over. So yeah, that's confederacies. So then there is Britannia. We've learned that the formable rules for it is you have to have England and Wales, all of it, every single city in England and Wales. I'm talking about modern day England and Wales, not what it is here. Basically, you don't need any of Scotland, you don't need any of Ireland, but you have to be a tribe, basically it. For Albion, the restrictions are a little bit higher. Basically, you need to have all of the British Isles, so England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland, every single city. So you're going to have to colonize the various places in Scotland and colonize almost all of Ireland to do that. You also need a civilization level of 50, which is going to be a little bit tough because you, being tribal at the start, having a high civilization level means that your tribesmen are going to be disloyal or unhappy. And so you're going to have to get that civilization up and then slowly start improving your tribesmen, promoting them to civilian citizens. That's the one, not civilians. So yeah, also you can have no clan chief characters. So basically you need to get rid of your clan chiefs by passing laws. And every time you pass any law, your clan chiefs are going to get lower loyalty by 20. If these characters become too low loyalty, there will be a civil war. They'll rise up against you with their own personal retinue. So there's just some things to learn there. Now, tribal succession is also a thing that they looked at. And this one's interesting because basically it's based upon the ruler stats or the character stats. So obviously in Imperator Rome you have 4 different types of monarch power. I'm still going to call it monarch power, it's just easier that way. You've got military, civic, oratory, and religious. And you don't just add all those numbers up and then boom, that's your chance to become the next clan chief in the succession. Because 8 military translated into 16 martial when he hovered over one of his chiefs. 2 civic turned into 2 finesse, 1 oratory turned into 1.5 charisma, and then 4 religious points turned into 4 zeal. He also got plus 100 for being a clan chief. I guess that's just to prevent random other people from becoming your heir. And it's sort of weighted a bit like how they weight the next Holy Roman Emperor in EU4. Basically, you add all those numbers up, whoever has the highest is the one that is your heir, and it will change if another character becomes better, like they gained skills or something. So yeah, that is what I've seen for that. Now, one thing I also want to mention is that coastal provinces are colonized in a different way. So if we have a look at this, I probably should have done this earlier. This is Socotra, which I mentioned in the previous dev diary. And you can see here that it doesn't have a connection by sea province to anything around here. Now, the way that coastal provinces are colonized are different from regular provinces. Regular provinces, you have to have a land connection. However, if it's a coastal province, you just need that same sea tile. So I seen a few people in the chat saying, oh, this means we can colonize Socotra then, is it? No, it isn't. They also went over diplomatic range. It is capital to capital unless you share a border, which I find to be a little bit odd, because what if your capitals are, if you have two very, very long countries, but your capitals are on one side and the other side of these empires, and there's like one little province border in between them that isn't controlled by either of you, and maybe you have a buffer state, you can't do diplomacy with each other. Of course, your diplomatic range is increased with the higher level country you are, so if you're a major power, you get a higher diplomatic range. So that's probably not going to come into it all that often. It's probably going to be an edge case that you're never going to see. Now, one more thing. That's not one more thing, I've got a bunch to talk about. Before unpausing, they said the best thing to do is go into your national overview, which would be this one here, the first button, and you choose ideas. If you match your ideas, you get plus 10% civilization value and plus 1 in every monarch points, or at least it was for Caledonia. It might not be for everyone, I don't know just yet. But yeah, the plus 1 in every monarch power seems to be standard. The amount of ideas you have is based on your government type, so tribes, republic, monarchy, etc., those kind. But that is sort of somewhat based on your government rank. This came up because I think it was Blondie who said it was based on your government rank, and then some of the devs in chat corrected him. Ideas, they cost 50 oratory power, regardless of the category of idea that you choose. So you can choose a military idea and a civic idea, and it's still going to cost you oratory power. You start the game with 200 of every monarch point, by the way, as far as I can tell. You have 3 available ideas in each category, and you get more when you have technology advances. And you can change your ideas at a later date, so you're not stuck with whatever you choose. Yeah, so with ideas, there's, I think it's like 7, 8 maybe, in a row, and when you start the game, you always have 3 in each category. So if you're a country that can have 3 ideas, you can pick all in the same category if you so desire. As you advance in tech, then more of them become unlocked. I don't think it is 1 idea per tech, or at least there are certain ideas that need the advances, because I saw some that required 12 advances, and I saw some that required 6 advances, so it's different depending on which idea you want to choose. Now going into inventions, all inventions cost civic power. Doesn't matter if it's a military invention or religious invention or whatever, they all cost civic power. There are 100 base, and once you take 3 inventions in a single category, you need to tech up to get the new inventions in that category. They don't increase in cost depending on your tech, as far as I can tell, because he took 2 techs and they were both 100. They do, however, increase in cost via corruption. I assume a few other things are going to come into that as well. And similarly, omens, they always cost religious power. They are 200 base. You can only pick 1 at a time, and they last for 5 years. So every 5 years, be ready to spend 200 religious points. There is no such thing as force limit. You can have as many troops as you desire, as long as you can pay for them, as long as you have the amount of land required to house them all without suffering horrible amounts of attrition. Of course, you also need enough manpower to actually recruit them. So yeah, having a force limit is not a thing. If you have the money and manpower, just go ham. You always know how much cash, manpower, and cohorts other nations have. I believe I've got a picture of this. There we go. So here he's looking at another country. He's looking at Texelia. He can see that they have 72 cash. They have 14,500 manpower. He can see that they have 11 cohorts. He can see that they have 0 triremes. He can see they're 1 stab. I believe this is trade goods, and this is population. So he can see all of this for every country in the world. I assume maybe it's within Diplo range though. Maybe not everyone in the world, but he can see all of this. I like the way that Hearts of Iron does it, which is crazy for me personally to say, where it is, oh, he's got between this and this many factories, so it maybe could have, he's got between this and this much manpower, he's got between this and this much pop. I'd like to see that. Other things I have noticed is diplomatic stances, which you can see right here, or right here even, neutral stance right there. To change those cost 100 oratory power. Fabricating claims also costs oratory power. Also, unlike in EU4, fabricating a claim uses a diplomat. And now, I haven't seen that this game has diplomats, but when you do diplomacy, obviously you can't just spam diplomacy over and over again. You're going to have to wait for it. Of course, in EU4 it's 1 month cooldown, in Imperator it is the same. But with fabricating claims, you also have that 1 month cooldown, which is not the case in EU4. Which I found strange. Also, it's probably different depending on various factors, but for him to fabricate a claim on the province that he's planning on taking cost him 180 oratory power, which I felt was kind of huge. It definitely surprised me how expensive it was. But yeah, he went in and he had to pay that much. Also with warfare, when he had fabricated that claim, he got another option when it came to declaring war. So previous to that, he had the option of show naval superiority and show normal superiority, and it would have cost him stability to attack because he had no fabrication. Now that he had the fabrication, he still had those 2 options, and he also had the claim CB. He could have chosen any of them and still taken that land. He has no boats, his enemy has no boats, and he could still use naval superiority. And maybe that's something you might want to do if you don't want any kind of, ticking war score. Maybe that's something you want to avoid, the chance of not having ticking war score. So you can do naval superiority and do it that way, if you've got no boats, of course. So I found that very interesting as well. And the last thing I noticed was importing trade goods costs 25 civic power. Just go over it again. We've got military, civic, oratory, and religious powers right here. And they're something you're going to have to learn, just like in EU4. The pictures are different. So, helmets, grass, scroll, and sun. Mana power. Fair enough. Anyway, that is pretty much all I noticed in the stream. One more thing though. You may have seen it in this video earlier on, but why don't you have a look at this? He was recruiting some cohorts using the macro builder, and I noticed that heavy infantry are named warriors. We've got light cavalry called skirmishers or mounted skirmishers, and we've got light infantry called skirmishers as well. And I was thinking, oh, have they changed the name? I don't think so, because right here, when he's hovering over the various unit types, it's looking there like heavy infantry, light cavalry, and light infantry. So what it looks like is maybe either a localization bug, or what is more likely is culture change for your unit types. And I kind of want it to be culture change unit types, like maybe in Greece, instead of warriors, it'd be called phalanx? Maybe? I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see on that one. I just found that quite interesting, and I thought I would share that with you as well. So that is all for now. Next week, of course, they'll probably be doing another one of these, and they'll be probably starting again. I'm not going to spoil it, but they're probably going to be starting again. But yeah, interesting stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below, and likes and all that stuff are also great. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye for now.